Hello everyone, welcome you back to the science class. I hope you all are doing good. So dear children, as you all are aware that we have started with a new chapter. So today in this video we shall be discussing about physical change. And this chapter belongs to grade 7 and today's date is 8th of August 2020. So before we discussed the chapter, before we switch on to the different topics, let us revise what all we have done in our previous class. So in our previous class, children, we have discussed about the word change. What does the word change means? I have explored the meaning of change. Okay, so today in the video we shall be discussing with the physical change. Clear? So before that, let us look the objective of the day. So the objectives are, at the end of the class, students would able to understand about physical change, some examples related to physical change and properties of physical change. So let's start with the physical change. Now, what is this physical change? Okay, so let us define physical change. Physical changes refers to the changes in the physical properties of the substances such as shape, size, color and state. It means that physical changes are the changes that occurs only in the physical properties of a substance. Okay, physical properties like shape, size, color and state. Next, these changes are reversible in nature, and in a physical change, no new substance is formed. So children, you will understand the meaning of this change very nicely if you will perform some activities. So we shall be doing some activities in order to explore the meaning of physical change in a proper manner. Okay, so we can take various examples from our surroundings. Alright, like cutting of a paper, it's an example of a physical change. Boiling of water, kneading of wheat flour, crushing of metals, coloring of a paper, melting of ice. All these are the examples of a physical change. Clear? So now we need to know what are the different properties which will differentiate this physical change from the chemical change. So it's very necessary that we should know the properties of physical change. So here these are properties of the physical change. It states that these changes means the physical change are temporary, means they last for a shorter period of time. Point number 2, no new substance is formed. There is a change only in physical properties as we have stated before. Yes, so in this type of change, new substances are not formed. Point number 3, change can be reversed by simple physical methods. Point number 4, point number 3, change can be reversed by simple physical methods. Point number 4, energy may not be released or evolved during the change. So dear students, in order to understand all these properties properly, we need to do some activities which I shall be showing you at the end of this PPT. Okay. So the next. Now, how we will identify that whether a physical change is occurring or a chemical change is occurring? We need to get the evidences, isn't it? So you see, here is a table. There are some examples given through which we will able to understand how we are going to identify that a particular change which is occurring is a chemical change or a physical change. So some clues are given. Okay. So the first clue says that color change. Whenever we find in a change that some color change is occurring, that means it's a physical change. So we can consider the example of painting a piece of paper. Yes, I'll show you that after some time. If we paint a piece of paper, alright, the originality of the paper is not getting changed. Okay, paper is paper itself, only the color has got changed. So this is the physical property which is getting changed in this process. Clear? Then next is melting. If suppose in a change something is melting, then that is also an example of physical change. So we can consider the example like burning of a candle or melting chocolates. So now when we burn a candle, okay, when we burn a candle, what do we find? We find that the wax used to melt. Yes, but after some time when we cool it, it becomes solidified, and we get back the wax again. So it's a kind of physical change. Clear? Same in the case of chocolates. The chocolates in the room temperature, it melts. But when we keep it again in the refrigerator, it will become what? It becomes solidified. Alright, so it's an example of physical change. Right? So next is matter stays the same. Alright, so if this clue we get, that means also the changes of physical change. So now phases in water. So what it states that, the meaning is that if suppose we take some water, alright, and then we place that water in the refrigerator, okay, after some time we get what? We get the ice. And if the same ice cube, means the water has changed into the ice cube. Now this ice cube, if you will take out and place it in a beaker, or you can say in a plate, after some time what will happen? The ice will again melt. So we'll get back the original matter. Clear? So this is also the example of physical change. Likewise, the shape changes. If suppose in some change, okay, the shape of the substance changes. That means that is also a physical change. So this can be very well defined with the help of an activity, that is of cutting of the paper, or supposing the breaking of the glass. Alright, if suppose we cut a piece of paper, what we will get? We will get the papers only, but the size, with a different size. Okay, we get the paper, but the paper will be of different size. Likewise, if suppose the glass will break, we get the different glass pieces. Alright, so this is also a physical change. So children, we have seen that with the help of different clues, we can identify that whether a change, whether a change is physical change or a chemical change. So to make it more clear, let's do some activities. Dear students, let's perform some activities to understand the properties of physical change. Let's start with the first activity. I'm having this A4 size paper. Now just wait and watch what I'm going to do with this paper. So see, I'm trying to give this paper some other shape. Okay. Now perhaps you may be aware of what I'm making now. This is a very common activity. Okay, it's a very common activity which the small kids basically used to do. Okay. Now children, look what I have made. I have chains that complete the entire A4 size paper into this form. Means I have made a small paper plane out of that entire paper. Alright. So now let us look the properties, whether this activity is satisfying all those properties. So let's start with the first property. So the first property, it states that no new substance is formed. There is a change only in the physical properties such as size, color and stain. So now here, okay, here in this activity, what I have done, I have changed the shape of this paper, isn't it? So this is the first physical property. You can see it says that if the size gets changed, then it means that it's a physical change. So what has happened here? The paper, initially the paper was complete entire paper, A4 size paper. I have given it some shape. So the shape has got changed. Alright. So let's look the second second property. It says that change is temporary. Yes, definitely this change is temporary. I can unfold this paper. This is a temporary change. Alright. This is a temporary change. I can get back the paper again. And again, it says change can be reversed. Yes, I have got back my paper again. So this is also an example of a reversible change. Clear? Then next it says energy may not be released or evolved during the change. Definitely. We did not require any kind of energy. Means the energy is not evolved rather or released out. Okay. So now let's take some other example. Again, this is a piece of paper. Now, what I am going to do with this? So you must be wondering, no, what I am going to do? Yes. So you see, children, what has happened to the paper? What has happened to the paper, children? Initially, it was a complete paper. Now I have cut the paper and I have made it in 4 halves. Alright, so you see what has changed here? What has changed here? The size of the paper has got changed. Yes, so it's a temporary change. Again, it's a temporary change. Okay, it's a temporary change, and then the change can be reversed. Of course, I'll not get back the complete entire paper, but the composition is same. Alright, so this is an example of a reversible change. Now next, look at this paper. This paper is white in color. Alright, now if I'll color this paper, I have colored this paper, you see. Okay, this is the colored side of the paper. The paper has remained paper as it is, only the color has got changed. So this is also the example of a physical change. Means it satisfies the property that in a physical change, the color also gets changed, but the material remains the same. So it has proved that. And again, now let's take the example of a burning candle. Now you know, children, what happens when we burn a candle? The wick starts to melt. Okay, the wick starts to melt, and on cooling, the melted wicks gets solidified, and again we get back the wicks. So this is also an example of a physical change. Clear? So I hope, children, you all have understood the activities which has defined that physical change in a proper manner, or rather you must have understood the different properties of the physical change. Yes? So with this, today I would like to wind up, but before that, let's look at the summary. Today we have discussed definition of physical change, then examples of physical change, and the different properties of physical change. Clear? So thank you so much, students, for listening to me. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care. See you in the next class.